Hi guys, this week I wanted to talk about relationships and what I tried to do to build this particular relationship. Now I know that every relationship's different, but I believe there's certain factors that are a key component to relationships. One is being communication, massive. The other, empathy. The other, compassion, but also massively respect. The other factor I think not many people talk about, or they mean to talk about, is just trying to make it fun. You know, a lot of relationships kind of lose its funness and excitement. Now, I get it. There's that romantic period, and it becomes like you get used to each other's company, used to each other's habits. But yeah, man, it's difficult. And you have to change as well. You can't just stay the same, right? So I looked at a lot of relationships around me, from my relatives to my brothers and my sisters, and even my parents. They got married and had been married for over 47 years. Gosh, that's an accomplishment in itself. Now, let's see how I did it, or tried to do it. Yeah, so Anne and I had basically continued communicating and talking to each other after the first date. To my surprise, she actually found it quite good, and she wanted to see me again. And yes, I do have regrets of not taking up her offer of staying over, but you know what? That's in the past. You can't change it. What you can change is the present and the future. And yeah, so that's basically what I tried to do, is just try to build that connection, continue the communication, and do it through phone calls, video calls, and eventually the other date as well. Which, yes, it came. This time we arranged to meet up at London instead of her hometown. This was more of a neutral town, since she had relatives in London, so did I as well. So this was, it's worked out pretty well. If things didn't work out, we could have just visit our families instead, families or friends, that is. But yeah, we just kept on communicating, which is good. Now, something I had completely forgotten about in terms of relationships is the obsession part, especially when you're getting texts, notifications from the other person. You're excited to see the notification from the other person, and you're just, it brightens your day. But the problem is, it can be very unhealthy, especially if you're getting a kick or a thrill from that notification from that person you like. Is this unhealthy? Arguably, I think so. I wasn't used to this, but I was getting to a point where I was thinking about it too much, thinking about that person too much. And unfortunately, I have to say, I think it can be very unhealthy. You know, this is especially in the beginning part as well, because this is the bit where it can go either way, right? So, anyways, leading up to the meeting point, we arranged to meet at London during Christmas time. So this was around December. Yeah, so this time I decided to take the train instead of driving to meet the girl, for various reasons. I do like driving, but it can be very exhausting, especially if you're driving long hours. Yeah, so I decided, yeah, let's take the train instead. I wanted it to be a bit more relaxed and a bit more chilled. Yeah, so when I got to the train station in the morning, walked around and waited for Anne to arrive as well. And there she was, with her luggage and as pretty as ever. Yeah, so I hugged her. This time it actually felt like it was a lot nicer since the first time we hugged. It was felt a bit more meaningful. And after there, we basically walked around. She needed to drop off her luggage as that she was dropping it for her brother, who also stayed in London. This is where she was going to stay in the duration of the London trip. So basically, we found a newsagent in London near Victoria Station, which is exactly near the centre of London, to drop it off. It costed around £30 for the day. Yeah, you could say that is expensive, but it's London. London's mainly expensive in any aspect, really. Yeah, and so from there, we basically walked around and I asked her if she was hungry. And since this was sort of between breakfast and lunch, we had brunch, but at this natural place. Um, so yeah, we had that. It's quite expensive yet again, but yeah, it was kind of worth it. So from there, we basically went off to the Natural History Museum, which was my first time going there, but it was actually her second or third time going into the Natural History Museum. So it was a bit annoying that she's already been there before, but hey, it was nice to go somewhere new. It was a bit annoying that she's been there before, but hey, I found it quite interesting. There was a lot of dinosaur skeletons, a lot about the animals as well. But what I didn't realize was that it was actually shot in a movie, Night of the Museum, with Ben Stiller, I believe. But yeah, it was really cool. We went to the souvenir shop. I bought a T Rex for my little nephew, and she bought a mug. And then from there, we basically went for a walk in the city centre to Chinatown. Now, we're both Asian, so this was an easy go for us. So we had a lot of different things from dim sum, char siu bao, siu mai. These are dim sum stuff, to be fair. We had chow mein, fried rice, and other things as well. Really stuffed, honestly. So from there, it was getting late, but we walked around to the M&M store. I think this was the moment where it was a bit. It felt like it was, we were actually had some full on chemistry. We had some pictures taken together. So since it was getting late after the M&M store, we basically had to get back. She was going back to her brother's. I was actually just going back to a hotel. So, we took the bus. We shared a few moments in the bus. There was some, sharing about our time and what we were doing in between the time we met and stuff like that. So yeah, it was nice there. And then once we got to the train station, her train itself was about half an hour's time. So basically, you know, as a gentleman I think I am, I decided to obviously wait. And then, yeah, just basically as the train came, or it was coming, there was about 5 minutes left. I was feeling nervous. I had it in my mind to basically kiss her, basically. Yeah. And did I do it? Well, I can safely say yes. And how I did it was basically I went to her before she went. I said, "Oh, just before you go, I wanted to see if you were up for doing something else." So yeah, I basically just um looked at her, look into her eyes, and just basically did it there. Um, it wasn't. It was a bit of an awkward kiss. I won't lie, because it was a long time since I've kissed somebody. But there we have it, and we basically texted each other if we got back home all right, and yeah, we basically made it official from there. So yeah, that's my story of trying to build the relationship. Of course, every relationship's different. Again, I do believe communication, consistency, and respect, but also compassion towards towards one another is super important. Of course, those things can fade, and it's just going back to that consistency. So yeah, there's my story of how to try and build a relationship, and where does it go from there? Well, we'll see.